I'm not religious at all. I'm not coming from that standpoint.
Yeah.
This can be anything that you want it to be.
God is just the go-to word.
Right. And then I use what? Good orderly direction, group of drunks, like anything.
The only thing I don't like is when they say, when someone's talking, like they raise their hand and talk about, they're like, and that doorknob could be your higher power. No. that can't be it. You know,
I use that.
Well,
sometimes. Well, and then I preface it with like, that doorknob can be it because that doorknob's going to make a better decision. That's what I say when I use the doorknob reference.
That's pretty good one, though.
It's like,
yeah,
that doorknob's going to, anything that's going to help me make a better decision.
Is it going to stop me or is it going to let me go?
Thanks so much for listening to No Lions Here with me, Big Panda.
One o'clock now? Yep. All right. Dear God, thank you for today. Thank you for helping us wake up and with another opportunity to become the best version of ourselves. God, I thank you for bringing Scott and I together, first and foremost, as coworkers and as friends. God, thank you. I'm so grateful for our connection. The things that I've learned from Scott as well, God, he's definitely been a mentor for me and the treatment center, God. And I thank you so much for his willingness to come on the show and to share his experience, strength, and hope with me and everybody listening. So God, I ask that you just come into this room with us right now, God, and just guide our words. God, I know that whatever is said on this show today is supposed to be said, God, and I have faith in that, and I'll trust in that, God. And I know that your hands are involved. So thank you so much again for today, God, and for this experience that I get to have with Scott. Thank you, God, so much. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Lions Here. My name is Big Panda, and I'm a recovering sex addict. Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the show, Begin Again Institute. If you or anyone you know is struggling with sex or porn addiction, check out their information in the description. That's where I went to treatment. They're a supporter of the show. Actually had a talk with their marketing guy this morning, and it just kind of helped me relive my time at Begin Again Institute, as well as going through some old journals there and realizing where I was at 3.5 years ago and how big of a part they play in my story. And I'm just a big fan of everything that they're doing. So definitely go check them out. Again, their information will be in the description. So to today's episode, I'm super excited to have in the studio with me. He is a brother, first and foremost, a brother in recovery. Second, a friend. And third, a coworker. Honestly, man, and you've been a really big mentor to me. Scott is also a peer recovery specialist, working with me at the treatment center that I work at now. And I've really learned a lot from you and being there and having you sit in on my one-on-ones and just getting to follow you around and watch how you interact with the clients. And so, man, it's been really special to not only get to know you, but also learn from you as well. And I just thank you for, helping me through this stage of my career very early on. So, man, I'm super excited to have you in here, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Scott to No Lions Here, man. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure getting to know you too, Alex. I mean, you came in there with that long hair and that fiery attitude. I was like, this dude's got way too much energy for me. But as time went on, I mean, me and Alex became pretty good friends. And, that's first and foremost. Working together every day, I mean, it's only going to strengthen. So it's great. And you taught me a lot of things too. Don't laugh more. Don't take it on. My sobriety date is January 19th, 2006. So people want to call me, the old timer, whatever they do. And I'm not that old.
But man, 18 years though, right? Congratulations. That's awesome.
I owe that, that's nothing to do with me. That's everything with the steps to Alcoholics Anonymous and, finding a higher power that I understand. So that seems to be the hiccup nowadays, recovery. And I was at a meeting last night, actually the veterans meeting at IRC at 6 p.m. The veterans meeting at IRC at 6 p.m. I'm just saying we need people. That's what it's on.
They're going to have to pay me for that.
Are they? So, shit, I forgot what I said.
The meeting last night.
Oh.
Veterans meeting.
The meetings last night is, it's good. And it's nothing that I've done ever. That's basically what I'm saying. And the whole God thing. There's some guys in there that are fresh off the street pretty much, and they seem to be hung up on the whole God thing. And I guess we'll get more into that a little later, but the God thing's nothing to scare about if you're trying to recover, which you can. You can have a free life. That's great.
But I think that it's a big part of the program, the spirituality aspect of it. Like recovery truly is a spiritual program, a spiritual solution to a physical problem.
Absolutely.
And like what I love about the program is no matter what program you work, it gives you the keys. Hey, the keys are fellowship, connection, and higher power. Absolutely. Now, but yet it's up to you, it's up to me on how I go about finding those things.
It is. I mean, it's the best investigation on your part. Mm-hmm. I forget what the words are in the book. Basically, an educational variety. Me personally, I went to detox in post 06, and had 2 seizures out in the fountain. I know seizures are pretty common nowadays, but 2 seizures. It was that morning. I woke up in my mom's house where I had to sneak back in because she kicked me out. Mm. So at that point, if mama's kicking you out, dad's done with you. No, your friends are gone. That's our place. So January, I'm walking up to this liquor store with flip flops on and shorts and a sweatshirt through the snow. That's when it used to snow in January. And going to the liquor store, and my whole thought process was, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna grab a couple bottles, and I'm gonna run out. Now I've done that numerous times. This morning, for some reason, I didn't have the courage. And I'm out of it completely. So I walk outside, I have a seizure. Anyways, I end up in detox for, I think like 8 days. Mm. Well, they kept saying at St. Elizabeth's, old St. Elizabeth's in Belleville. And I was like, can I go home? And they were like, no. My family was lying to me, telling me the sheriff were outside, and they were going to arrest me. I didn't even do a crime lately. So they're just lying to me, which was for the best. So they told me, they're like, got on that livery and all that good shit. They told me if I can walk down the hall, and it's a big ass hallway, straight, they'll consider letting me go. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. It was, and alcohol withdrawals are no joke. I mean, I didn't know it at the time, but alcohol withdrawals, benzos, those are the ones that'll put you in the grave.
Yeah, you can that's one of the things. If you're a hardcore drinker, stopping cold turkey, can kill you.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. I remember I was living with my dad before he kicked me out, and I saw one of those commercials for like Malibu Sands out in California. Mm-hmm. Do you have an addiction problem? Yes, I do. Do you want to go out here? And they got softball courts and people playing volleyball. And I'm like, yeah, I want to go there. Yeah. And so I called the line. I talked to this lady and I forgot. And I was honest with her about my drinking. Fifth a day, handle a day, whatever else. And she's like, well, you need to make a decision about coming here. But she's like, do not stop drinking. Click. That's all I needed to hear. Do not stop drinking because of the seizures. But in my mind, she said, do not stop drinking. So I went on another tear for at least another year.
Gee.
Yeah.
Do not stop drinking.
Not stop drinking. Yeah, it was and I couldn't stop drinking.
So you said that was like a year before the seizure incident?
Yeah, a year and a half.
So at that point in time, had you been like, at what point in time were you like, all right, this is clearly a problem for me to the seizure?
I mean, I'd known for a couple of years that it was a problem. And then I always knew, there was 2 choices for me, and I knew it was going to be death or getting better. I was scared to get better. I mean, I did not know anything about AA, really. I just heard the name. So I didn't know what that meant. And, even on the DUIs, they never said, hey, you need to go to AA. None of them. I had to go get assessed, and that was it. So it was either going to the unknown, and when you're addicted like that, you're scared to get sick. Because I'm drinking, I'm doing cocaine, I'm doing whatever I can, and I knew that made me feel better in the morning or whatever else. I was scared. I was scared to get home. So it took, those seizures were the only thing that woke me up. Mm. That got me to the hospital where, you're basically a zombie in detox. Walk out of there and, whatever days it was, 6, 7, 8, I don't know exactly. My sister couldn't know. I was like, fuck, I haven't drank for 6 days. Let's keep trying. And I'm squirrely as fucking squirrely can be. My dad took me back in. But before I got a detox, they gave me a huge bill It was about $15,000. On the bottom of that bill, like discharge, whatever, not medication, but discharge planning, I guess, was go to AA and get a sponsor. Fucking, first, I'm not going to pay the bill because it's not going to be to because I don't pay bills when I'm drinking and drugging. Go to AA, get a sponsor. I didn't even know what a sponsor was.
Yeah.
And I was like, Budweiser going to sponsor me? What are we talking about here? I didn't understand. So that's what really pushed me into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I get out of detox and I broke the golden rule right away. I mean, how sick am I where I'm coming back to that facility, to the hospital, because they did, meetings, let outside people go in there. I go in there and I know how crazy those people are in there. I was one of them. I get one of the girls' numbers. She gets out. She was there for mental health issues. And I'm like, this will be good. A week sober. I think, she's spending the night out. My dad's already kicked me out again. I mean, it was just, then how vulnerable we both were. It's like, it was love. I love you. And no, I mean, we were just so out of it. Broke that golden rule. Then finally got into, I guess, real AA and went to a meeting at Wade Square. The first meeting, and I'm dying. These people are in here laughing and joking and having a good time. I'm dying. And we sat down, who is newcomer? I raised my hand. Kind of introduced myself. And I used my last name too. I don't care, Scott Rings. And one guy looked back at me. I was like, I know that dude. I don't know where, but I know him. Anyways, the rest of the meeting was about 3 young ladies. Now, to say this, and what I hate is that these 3 young ladies all had problems not related to alcohol. So after we did the steps, and everybody read them and how it works and all that stuff, which was Greek to me. The open floor, yeah, we're talking about one lady that can't pay her power bill. So she's been 3 years sober. This I remember like it was yesterday. It's about killed. She can't pay her power bill. The other one has a cat, I guess, that hasn't been fixed, and it was pissing on the jerks. And the other lady had a flat tire. Now, these women were attractive, so every man in there, and it was a pretty large meeting, is trying to help. You know what I'm saying? So it all shifted to them. And it was probably about 45 minutes into the meeting. And I got up. And I walked out and told my mom, I was like, you come get me because I didn't have a license. Jason, my sponsor now, he came out there. That's the guy I didn't know. And he ended up knowing my sister, long story short, we've known each other for a while. He's like, you all right? I was like, no. I was like, I either want a bottle or I want a gun. And kind of looked at me and he was like, so are you willing to do the things to get better? I said, dude, I'm willing to do anything but that. That's what I want to do. He's like, call me tomorrow. Oh, sorry, feedback. So you kind of qualify me. That's a big book thing or trying anything. Qualify if you're an alcoholic. So he asked me a couple questions. Asked me about step 2 a little bit. I was like, I don't care. I was in so much pain, I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Step 3, you got to. I was like, I don't know how to do that. He's like, listen, man, are you God? Well, no. You think there might be something more powerful than you in this universe, on this planet? Hurricane, tornado, floods, is that stronger than you? I said, well, yeah. He said, let's move on. Now, we went back, we revisited these steps, of course, but that was enough to get me into with the God thing and all that, just hearing that. So that's all I say to the guys in our treatment center meetings. You don't need to get hung up on God. We can revisit it, and I found God through the steps. Because I couldn't stop drinking. I couldn't. I tried. I told myself every night I'm done. And I meant it. Yeah. Till about 4 o'clock in the morning. So that's how the first part.
Yeah. I think that willingness, real quick, just to touch on those steps in the God thing, like even just being willing to look if there's a higher power. Even just the willingness. That was one of the big things I talked about last week with him, was just like the willingness. Am I willing to do these things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the willingness there? If the willingness is there, I don't have to have it all figured out right now. As long as the willingness is there, everything else will fall into place.
Absolutely.
Like it all starts with willingness.
Absolutely. And it almost says that in the book, are you willing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm willing, but I mean, where's the meat and potatoes that's going to, lead me to a God? So, that's the fun part. you're right. I mean, willingness, just the
the willingness.
Just
What is
a
it?
little
Step
bit.
8, like became willing to made a list and became willing to make amends.
Nice.
Step 8 is I don't have to make these amends. Am I willing to do it?
Right.
Yes. Okay, you're ready for step 9.
Step 9, make your recommend.
Yeah.
I got out of that, detox place a couple meetings in. I thought I was on fire. I told Jason, I was like, I'm gonna go apologize to this person. He's like, no, you fucking are not. I was like, why? He's like, dude, you said you're sorry how many times? I was like, to you? This is how naive I was. He's like, no, dummy. He's like, to your family and all your friends. And I was like, oh, all the time. So they'll know I'm legit this time. And he was a big book thumper or whatever you want to call him. He was like, dude, your apologies or your amends need to have depth and weight. You know what I'm saying? So after I started working the steps with him, and he was a stickler. Like I came back with my 4th step, and he showed me how to do it. So I just went home, wrote a autobiography, whatever else, gave it to him. He's like, go home, do it again. Call me. I took a lot of time to do that. So I went back, and then I did the columns. I did it the right way. Taking your personal inventory doesn't show very good. I mean, it doesn't have to be all bad, the things that we've done in our past life. But usually we're decent people before we get, caught up in addiction. But I did that. I did it with him. I didn't have a burning bush moment or nothing like that. And, but life was starting to become a little bit more comfortable. And that's what I wanted. And from that point, things kind of took off for me. And then at that time, after I was doing step 9, then I had like my 6-month coin given to me.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite coin ever. My sister was there, my dad was there, stepmom was there. I was like, I can do this. And the guy that shared, who I still was like, this dude's awesome, came up to me. He's like, welcome to, now you're one of us. I was just like, I really don't know what that meant, but it made me feel good. You know what I mean? So that was good. But I mean, the before like recovery and all that, I mean, I went into the service when I was 18. And my dad owned bars while I was young. My sister would bartend. I was usually one of the cooks. My dad was pretty cool about take a case of beer. So with me and my buddy always works Friday and Saturday nights. 9 o'clock, get off. We had to page people where they're at. Remember the pagers?
Nope. We grew up in the 80s together, but I didn't have a pager.
You didn't have pagers? Oh, we all had pagers. So I would page my buddy. You have code and page, you know what I mean? I would like code the number, anyway.
Yeah.
So you could code it, some of these pagers, and he would code back, we are blank. And I would basically guess. And it was always the same place. So that's what I would do. We take a case of beer, and that was all the time. So I'm not saying my dad turned me into an alcoholic, but I was around. That's the culture of my family.
Sure.
Like a lot of families. I'm a full-blown alcoholic, cokehead. My sister is not. She can drink. She can put them down. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it pisses me.
Yeah, I get that too. Absolutely, yeah.
So, I mean, where's that at?
You were talking about you went to the service. Your dad had bars.
Right. So you get in there and go through all the bullshit, and then get stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and that's when it fucking became. It didn't control my life, but we drank all the time. We were drinking. We were doing coke. Because as long as you know the urinalysis guy, you're good. And we did. He was one of our buddies. I mean, we drank. And that's, we'd do deck exercises or do this and that. But it always came back to the drinking on it. And drinking hard. We would drink till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get up at 6 and go run 6 miles. Who does that to themselves?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we do. And that was like a constant thing. I was a paratrooper, and all we did was run for some reason. Just go to shit's head or whatever. So, military definitely gave me a doctorate in drinking. And then when I came home, I got this shitty job, a sales job or something. And my dad was not only, he was working for the company too, and real far drives. And I wasn't making shit for him. So I decided, I got a little bit of money for the military. I'm just going to chill. Me and my buddy got an apartment, and it was bad. We lived in apartment buildings there in Velvet, but that was back when like the apartment building was like a drunk Melrose place. You know what I mean? Like everybody was out partying at night, like every night, and I loved that. But then when it was time to go to work, about a year, I couldn't go to work because by that time it had me. And I was drinking every day. And that went for years. I don't mind saying, the things that happened to me, but war stories always make people push back at a distance. You know what I mean? Well, I never been, No, I got 4 DUIs on them. Well, 3.5. Let me tell you about the first one. First one was bullshit. So I was coming back from my girlfriend at Bragg's, Methodist College. You tell a cop, he pulls you over, how many beers you have? I literally had 2 Budweiser long necks, drove my car, saw the, what's that called? Checkpoint thing. Spraying checkpoint. I'm like, I had 2 beers. I'm good. I'm going to light a cigarette. I lit a cigarette, came up there to me, took his head, I gave him a shit. He was like, you been drinking? And I was like, no. I decided to lie to him. He's like, why don't you step out? All right, I step out. I'm still kind of ignorant to all the laws and all that, right? And he's like, well, this and that. If you blow, you'll get your license back in 30 days and then go to court. If you don't blow, it's an automatic 6 months notification. I was like, I'm going to go with option A. So I blew. I blew 0.03, but 0 tolerance. I was 20 years old. That was May 2nd. And I can remember that because my birthday's May. I fucked up.
That is.
And he took me to jail.
Oh.
And he booked me. And I had to spend money on a lawyer, and I did get out.
Oh.
That's a dick move, ain't it?
I mean, 0 tolerance, though. You're 20 years old.
Don't take this. But yeah, he got me. So, but I mean, just the military culture was just drink.
Yeah.
And it was fun, too. A lot of fun. Because it didn't control every aspect of my life.
Right.
I could stop at night, or stop for a week or 2, and it didn't bother me. But
you're also young, too, so your body was able to bounce back quicker. The hangovers didn't take a toll. That's back when you could run on no sleep hungover.
Right.
Now I'm like, man, I
don't know how anybody
I need
does.
7 hours of sleep at night, or else I'm just a total baby. Like, don't let alone the drugs. Like,
so before you come to work, you're never on 7 hours, right? Because you're always a baby.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm
thanks.
here for
Thanks,
you,
man. So clearly, so I'm a firm believer of like the whole addiction model of like trauma and like getting things can really, for me anyway, trace back to like my early childhood and just the things that I lacked in nurturing and things like that led me to seek my own way of nurturing and comfort. Now, obviously, with you being a veteran and you're very clear on like, hey, I'm not going to talk about what happened overseas, and totally respect that.
I'm a big fan of therapy, but they rip shit out of you. You know what I mean? And it goes back to child. It always goes back to the childhood. Did you have a nuclear family? Did you guys sit down and eat dinner together and all this little stuff? And then I've never thought about any of that until like she brought it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you start to look at it. And it's like, damn, let's go tell my mom she fucked me up. Yeah. I come in and I'll be like, you owe me reparations.
For anybody listening, don't go to your mom and tell her that you fucked up. I tried that basically when I got out of treatment.
Hey guys, I just want to take a minute to share something deeply personal and transformative in my journey of recovery. I've been where you might be right now, struggling with the weight of addiction and feeling lost. But there's a place that offered me a new beginning, a place I truly believe in. It's called Begin Again Institute. At Begin Again, they understand the deep-rooted trauma behind addiction. Their 14-day intensive program for men tackles the neurobiological aspects of addiction head-on. It's not just about breaking a habit. It's about understanding and healing the underlying trauma that formed it in the first place. And for those who have been impacted by betrayal, Begin Again extends care to partners of addicts too. Their partner support program is offered at no additional cost to the family and runs alongside the men's intensive. This program helps participants gain an understanding of the trauma they've experienced and sets them on their own path to healing. If you or someone you love are grappling with sexual addiction, pornography addiction, or intimacy issues, Begin Again Institute can be that pivotal step towards recovery and a new lease on life. Remember, you can't go back and change the past, but it's never too late to begin again. To learn more about their life-changing program, visit beginagaininstitute.com or call 720-776-9076 to reserve your spot in the next 2-week intensive. I promise, it'll be the best call that you ever make for yourself. Stay strong, keep fighting, and keep tuning in to No Lions Here for more conversations about recovery, resilience, and hope.
Because like my treatment was all about trauma. It was really trauma informed, and like, hey, like you didn't get this, this, and this growing up. Like going back and looking, like I had some of the bigger traumas in my life, but you don't realize how much of the smaller ones. Do you have a nuclear family? Right? Did you sit down and eat dinner most nights of the week? Like, and things like that, or you know, a divorce in the family, like that can play its part.
Oh, yeah.
Like those have huge impacts, or even just the like not sitting down as a family to eat, like can have a huge impact on a child.
Absolutely. And like my mom's situation, you know, she, after my dad left when I was like 5 or 6, my sister would have been trying to do math. Would have been like 13 or 14, right? So then my mom became like a manic, you know, major depression issues going on. So she would work, she'd come home, and then she'd pretty much go to bed. And my great grandma was living with us. She would be the one cooking dinners and all that. You know, and after she passed, I mean, my sister was the one that kind of raised me. You know, that's why she would never buy me alcohol at 21. Because she always thought she was like my protector. I'm like, well, you're not protecting me. If you don't buy it for me, I'm going to have to go find someone that'll buy it for me. And that puts me in a dangerous situation. She didn't buy that. So she's like, no. And I see it now because I've had my cousins and stuff call me when they were in town, and before they turned 20, they're like, dude, you go get us a case of beer. I mean, first of all, you know, they all know I'm an alcoholic. Second of all, I was like, I don't want that shit on my conscience if something happens. But now, I mean, in hindsight, I get it. Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, my drinking started. Yeah. And then I don't feel like there was a lot of trauma, but I liked the drink. You know what I mean? I liked, even before the military or anything else, I liked it. That was my way in.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell I'm sure you heard the story. Like my wife, Jessica, we'll go out to lunch or dinner, usually dinner. And, you know, she'll order one of these margaritas, or they call painkillers at this one restaurant. It just sounds stupid to me.
That's very
aggressive.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like asking for trouble.
Yeah. So we go there and she drank one. Then she starts talking, so you know she's getting a little loopy, and you know she'll order another one, and she'll get like halfway through. She's like, "I'm done. You gotta drink that. Shit's expensive." You know what I mean? And sometimes she's fun when she's drunk. But I guess the moral of what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, she drinks, and she starts to lose control, and she wants to stop. I drink, and I feel like I'm in more control. And someone kind of explained that to me, and I was like, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, because when I'm out there fiending or whatever I'm doing, going through withdrawals, I mean, I do anything to drink. And after drink, then I want to go get a package. It's not easy to escape it.
No. I remember you telling me that about your wife, like back when we like first met. And what's really interesting is like my girlfriend now, she said the exact same thing to me. She was like, yeah, I'll go out with friends and like, I'll have like 1, maybe 2, but she was like, I didn't really like doing drugs and drinking all that much because I felt out of control. So the moment I start feeling out of control, I want to stop. And that's when I was like, all right, you're
A good person.
You're good. Like you're, you know, you are a true normie. And like we all have our own vices, right? Even if you don't drink or use drugs out of control, like we all still have our own vices, social media, TV, exercise, eating, shopping, whatever it is. But like, I think that there's something about these substances and obviously sex, for my case, that can really get out of control and it can really hurt your life.
Yes. I mean, if it's not affecting your life.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of normal people, a lot of them don't get DUIs. You know, if you get a DUI, I mean, you've been doing the wrong shit for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, no one who goes to the bar till 2 o'clock anymore and decides it's a good idea to drive home. Not happening. Weird, man.
That's why I liked Coke, because then it could sober me up for that 15-minute drive home. Right?
Yeah,
Or I thought that,
yeah.
and like, which is messed up, because I still would have gotten a DUI.
If they wouldn't know.
If they would have pulled me over, I would have gotten a DUI and possession of cocaine. But of course, I thought, here I am. Like, here I am again. That whole idea of like, I played God when I was in my addiction.
Oh yeah.
I had all the answers, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna hit these lines before I go. All right, let me hit these lines out before soon. Now I'm ready to go. Now I can drive 15, 20 minutes and I'm good to go. And I've got it all figured out, right? And it worked. I never got a DUI, thank God. Thank God. And now I don't have to put myself in a position to where I'm gonna get a DUI. But still, just like that way of thinking, though, like,
yeah,
this works when,
yeah.
like,
and I was always the guy like, I'll drive. I don't know why that is. It costs a lot of money, man. If that would happen nowadays, I'd be in prison.
I can see
this
that.
is what you see me in prison.
Like putting you in prison.
Little going prison.
That's what.
I ain't going. I ain't going.
Well, this is where it leads us, right? Like, and you've already mentioned you had 4.
I scratched that. We had 2. But then, let's get back to the recovery part of it. I mean, once I started those steps, step 1 was easy. You know what I mean? That was a gift. Step 2, yeah, I mean, whatever. For me personally, I was in pain. The only thing I knew that these people were doing, they were laughing, they had jobs, they had families. I wanted some of that. So step 2, can't believe the power of greater self, restores the sanity. Sure, let's go with it. Yeah. Then number 3, turn our will over to God. I was like, I don't even know what that means. Turn our will over yet, but if it's going to, but yes, okay, I'm willing. That's like you said, willing. Willingness to take something of your own creation. 4 was, I touched on that a little bit. That's sort of the meat and potatoes, whatever they want to say. And, I mean, step 4 for me was, I'm not going to say easy, but I didn't mind coming out and telling somebody. You know what I mean? Because that shit was in me. And I did wrong a lot of people. It needed to come out and see it on paper. And after seeing it on paper, I mean, I'm selfish. I'm a liar. I'm a cheater. I'm a manipulator. Every bad trait that an addict can have, I had that shit. Sat down, did the 5th step. That was pretty easy, honestly. Everything I had, we talked about it, and we found the common theme of it, which was what I just said. So now, what do we do? We do a couple more prayers. We ask to relieve those shortcomings, and now in this time in sobriety, I haven't drank, haven't drugged. Sometimes I don't even think about drinking. And it used to be always, if I drink today, I'm not drinking today. I'm not, fighting with myself in the morning. I don't do that. Or even, back then, that stopped. The amends process, I didn't really like that shit. They didn't. I wish I would revise that somehow. That one, I mean, there's still amends out there that I need to make that I'll probably never make. Yeah. Because you can still move on to like step 10 and do all that, because some people you're not going to find. Mm-hmm. And, you and your sponsor talk about that and go from there. But I remember one amends I tried to make at the Zoli's in Fairview Heights. Did I tell you about that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So I just got done eating, and this is when I was with the alcoholic Air Force chick that ended up stealing my fake planks. That's a whole other story.
I have heard that story.
That's bullshit. So bad. I walk out of Zoli's. I see this guy that I most certainly owe him. I want to drive away. Because he's as big as that freaking door right there behind you. He's like, no. So I went out there. Him and his girlfriend, who I've known forever too, standing there. She was like, "Hey, Scott, I heard you're doing a little better." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks for coming along." John looked at me, but what do you want? And I said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Man, I just, went through the spiel about the amends." And he said to me, he was like, "Well, I don't really give a fuck. What path you're on or whatever, that you've been clean for a little bit, you really just need to fuck out. Deal. Got back on the phone with the sponsor. He, said, "That's perfect. Like, your side's done. Your side is done." And I felt better. That was one of the bigger ones. It's just weird that it just ends up as gold one day. Yeah, that helped.
Yeah,
that helped. They're not always going to go the way we want them to go, but it seems like 8 out of 10 times they do go very well.
Yeah.
Can't be scared of that process.
Yeah. I think part of the amends process too is understanding that a lot of times it's for me in my side of the street, and that I can't control how other people react to me.
Yes.
And that I can't. Yeah, but I want everybody to be like if that was me in that scenario, my script would have been like, this guy's gonna be like, "Man, congratulations. Hey man, no problem, Scott. Like, it's all good, brother. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee sometime soon and catch up.
Right.
Thanks for this."
Yeah.
Right. That's how my script always looks. Like, that's what I want. And then when they don't play along my script, I'm like, "Oh, I failed." Well, you didn't.
Yeah.
You handled your side. You said you were sorry.
I did. And I said why, everything else. And he let me talk. But let's fast forward 6 years from then. I don't know. Buffalo chili cook-off. We're down there walking around. That's all you do is walk around, eat chili, and fart. And so we're down there, and I see this man again and his girlfriend, same one, and I guess we were crossing paths kind of. We had Ethan at the time, so he's my youngest, and he was very young then. And he was like, "Hey, Scotty, what's up, man?" And I just looked at him. I saw him coming because you could see him coming. And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "I just want to check, see how you're doing." I looked that dude dead in his eyes, and I said, "You know what?" I was like, "You made me feel about this big when I made my amends to you. And it cut deep when I made my amends to you, and I know that you deserve an amends. But you know what, dude? Fuck you. I'm done. I'm moving on." He's like, "What?" I was like, "Do you not understand what was said that day to me? I did my part. Did I apologize? I went through my amends." The book teaches us we are not nobody's punching bag. This dude is not going to say something to me like that, hurt my feelings, make me feel like shit. I got to make phone calls. I got to do it to get my, then it takes the rest of the day to get your mind right, right?
Yep.
Because it's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're reminiscing about the, the shit you did to him. Then should I have said this? Should I have done that? So then he's just going to come up to me and act like nothing happened. I didn't like it. And my wife, we started to walk off. She's like, "Why are you so fucking mean?" I said, "Well, I'll have to tell you a story." And I did. But that's the lovely thing about this stuff is, too. Once we clear our street, man, we don't have to be something.
What comes to my mind is the promises.
Yeah.
Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us.
Absolutely.
And like that is right then and there, that was a promise that was being fulfilled for you. You were no longer afraid of this man, and you could tell him, "Hey man, nah, I'm good."
Yeah. They don't need to talk.
No.
I don't need any more closure from him. So a lot of my other amends went pretty well. But I mean, where everything started getting, even more better. More better, good, or more better?
The most bestest. More better. More better. Oh, we can go with more better.
Let's go with that one.
Things got better, or even better. Things got even better.
Now I'm gonna go with more better.
Okay, more better. That works.
So more better.
From Southern Illinois, ladies.
Yeah,
that's what we get.
We eat pork steaks, man. That's what we get. When I started sponsoring people, in the beginning I was like, my sponsor told me, he's like, "Well, you're ready." I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "Yeah, you are." He's like, when this thing was designed, they were going through these steps rapidly and automatically getting out there to help other people. That's in the book. And I was like, "Fuck, the book." So there I am in meetings, who will sponsor? I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. I was like, "Pick me," so I'm like tracking these guys down, stalking them, wanting to be the sponsor. That didn't really work. So, you'll find the right person.
Yeah.
The right person will find you.
Absolutely.
And, that's a good place to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And after I get to know somebody, and because anybody can say anything to your face.
Yep.
And once I get to know these guys, and I know a lot of for many years in AA. You know, and I always tell them, if you want to see somebody's sobriety, go to their house. Like when I walk in, my dogs aren't running from me. You know what I mean? The kids are coming out saying, hey, my wife's, hey, get this on cheap, whatever. If you go to someone else's house and they don't know which dad's coming home or mom, that's a different picture.
Yeah.
So are you working with stuff? You know what I mean? Because from the outside and all the good shit you spiel, seems like you are, but then nothing's changing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's something I like to do. I don't know if people call that creepy or whatever else, but that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know how the family reacts to the father.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, talking about, so I'm on my second sponsor right now. And like really cool is like I remember when I had to like fire my first sponsor and I was like so nervous about it. You know, talking about the fear of people. I'm afraid of people. And I remember like telling him, I'm thinking I'm gonna ask you. Oh, all right, man, sounds good. And then like I saw him at a meeting, I don't know, about a year or so ago, because I started hitting some different meetings. And then I saw him and I shared the podcast with him. And then he randomly reached out to me like 2 months ago. And I was like, hey, man, you want to come on the show? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. So here I am thinking that this guy was like mad at me for firing him or something. And then next thing you know, he came on the show and we had a really good conversation. And like, so it's just, it's really cool, just like how that works. And that like, I've got all these fears in my head that aren't necessarily true at all.
No. Living there rent free.
Yeah. It's actually, I'm paying them, man.
Yeah, you are, because you're going to get fucking sleeping pills and ibuprofen because your shit hurts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as like it goes for like sponsoring people for you, Scott, how do you approach that?
Well, I mean, usually what happens is they'll come up to me and they'll ask me, are you sponsoring something?
And typically, so I've also heard before, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, but
it's your show.
You're right, it is my show. Oh, thank you for that. Appreciate it. So I've heard that like you talked about like hunting people down. Like, all right, you're ready to sponsor. Let me hunt these people down. And in my experience, I haven't really seen that too much in my meetings because it's always like the way that it was told to me from my sponsors, like, hey, if you hear somebody that has something that you want, go talk to them.
Yeah, I'm sure my sponsor said something. I did what I wanted.
And it's that whole idea of like promotion or attraction rather than promotion. So anyway,
that's probably why it didn't work.
Probably not. But I heard that still goes on though too.
Yeah, it does. I mean, now that you get some time and say kind of relax and you understand that this is your new life. Accept that this is your new life. I mean, I do make it a point if I go to a meeting to speak. You know what I'm saying? So if that person hears something he like me say or whatever, then yeah, they come to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. And I try not to turn anybody away, man. But then there's some people that you get to talking to, and I'm almost thinking to myself, dude, you don't even sound like an alcoholic. It sounds like you got in a little trouble, and here you are. And not to say I'm not going to care for that person or anything else, but I don't know if I'm going to waste my time sponsoring. And also, working through the steps, you get step 4 and 5. I mean, if you're going to do it, I would think it'd be done in 2 weeks. That's what some guy told me. And I mean, I know it takes people longer, and that's okay. But I mean, I think that's a significant amount of time. And if you can't do that, or, at least reach out and say, hey, it's going to be another couple of days, yada, yada, yada. Okay, right on. But then half the time they ghosted. They're gone. So, that's kind of like, I like the 2-week thing, because if they want it, you're going to get them hooked. And then hopefully reel them in.
I mean, that makes sense. He shows who's serious.
But, I go to the 623 Club a lot just because that's convenient for me. But, our job, we talk all day about drugs and alcohol all day. So sometimes you go home and you don't want to do it a little bit. And I'm trying to get better at still staying, at least 2-3 meetings a week. And that can be hard, with kids and everything going on and work shit. But for people like us, we got to still be getting out there.
We got to.
Yeah. But I was going to give a shout out to the 623 Club because when I first sobered up, I was very, very, very unemployable still. You know, I was sick still, very sick, and didn't have no money. My dad would give me like $2. I'd go sit up at the club all day with $1, 50 cents for a cup of coffee, but it's bottomless, and smoke Marlboros and just go to that movie. That's all I did. I mean, that was the only safe place I had. And I hate saying that, but it was. And that place saved my life. 623 gets a lot of, bad publicity sometimes. They get a lot of good, or, there's some bad, and that place saved my life. Hands down, saved.
I will say, I think that it's really cool that like AA has these clubhouses.
Oh, yeah.
So where like you can go and do that. Like, so I qualify to be in AA.
Yeah.
I don't go to AA meetings. I've got my own meetings that I hit. But I totally qualify to be in those rooms. I qualify to be in any of the rooms. But I think it's really cool that because down in where the girlfriend lives, an hour and a half away, they have an AA clubhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have an AA clubhouse. I forget the name of it, but I saw that because I remember we drove by it one day and she was like, "Hey, is that like the recovery sign?" And I looked and it was the AA sign. And we drove by it again. We drove by it a couple more times, and finally I was like, "I'm gonna stop and look and see what their meeting schedule is because I want to go hit a meeting them."
Yeah.
And so I stopped and I looked and it had it posted on the door when the meetings were. So I was like, "All right, cool. Like next time I'm down there,
It's on.
I'm going to go to a meeting."
Yeah.
Because why not? Part of me's scared, but also too, let me go to this meeting.
Yeah.
It's recovery. So I think it's really cool that AA has these set up clubhouses where, someone who's suffering and new in the program can go and just sit in I love what you said. There was that safe space.
Mm-hmm.
That safe space, because we all need those. And you found that in your clubhouse.
Yeah. And that is grace of God, man.
Mm-hmm.
I needed that.
You want to talk about, struggling with a higher power and, but if you look at your life and the things that have happened, the seizures,
Mm-hmm.
the clubhouse.
The seizures, my mom says today, those seizures were a godsend.
Yep.
Because it's even fun. Not fun, but so I come to in the emergency room. I got all the fucking wires on me and shit like that. So they're like, "You had a seizure, you're okay?" No, all right, so can I leave? And she's like, "Well, we're gonna wait a couple minutes, I'll observe you." So she left, started taking needles out, walked out, down that ramp at the emergency room, boom, another seizure. Woke up on floor 7.
God said, "No, you didn't." Yeah.
Said, "You stubborn little prick."
Let me bless you with another one, brother. It sounds like you need another one.
Yeah. You're like, keep fucking around and you coming home.
You're not gonna get too many more of these, right, man, before you're it's like a 2x4, right? I need a 2x4 every once. I need a spiritual 2x4 to whack me upside of my head. And I used to get jealous of guys that were like, "Man, I just woke up one day and was like, I don't think I'm looking at porn too much. I need help." Or a guy that comes into the treatment center on his own, like, "Yeah, it's just getting a little out of hand." I was always jealous of those experiences.
Yeah.
But for me, that would have been an easier, softer way because I wouldn't have had the consequences necessarily.
Right.
And that the consequences would have come eventually. And that my consequences were pretty hard off the bat. They're like, okay, I need to get serious about this.
And people that are like that, and if they are, truly an addict or truly an alcoholic, they got to understand though that you don't have to go to the extremes you and I did to be an alcoholic. You know what I mean? If I would have stopped, years before, am I still alcoholic? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just didn't fucking start running like a hurricane. So,
I actually had a client ask me on Wednesday. He was like, "So you do this for your recovery?" And I was like, "No."
Do the job?
Do the job, yeah. And I was like, "No." I have my own stuff that I have to do. Now, do I believe what we do is a form of service work? Yes. But I cannot substitute my work for my recovery.
No. That place is also a confined, safe place.
Yeah. Yes.
So, I tell them too, your recovery is out there.
Yeah, that's good.
Come up here for the alumni hangout because that's pretty cool. With everybody that's still doing good, but everything else will be out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So now, what got you into the CPRS role?
Oh, all right. Well, see, after I sobered up, I worked for a trade waste incinerator for about 12 years and had left them for waste management.
You're a big mob. Oh yeah, I work in waste management. Oh yeah, how you're connected. Okay, so maybe the one I was trying to be Tony Soprano over here.
I would love to be. Just not dead, Tony.
Hey, there's sorry, this total side note has nothing to do with recovery. HBO's got a 2-part series coming out Saturday.
Tomorrow?
David Chase is going to talk about breaking the Sopranos.
All right.
So just wanted to let you know, I saw that last night. I was watching something. So
all right, I'll check that out for
sure. Big Soprano guys. Anyway, sorry. Getting back, you worked at Waste Man. You went incinerary, and then you went to Waste Management.
Right. Okay. So I filed disability for the Army, a long time ago. I got like 30%, which was a nice little, buffer check. You know what I mean? And then when I was working for Waste Management, I liked that job. It was a gas plant, and it was just laid back, you know what I mean? And nothing really broke, so I didn't really have to fix anything besides put some brake. But I went to another doctor, and I've had to see like 7 doctors. And I went to another one, and I was expecting them maybe 50, percent. Came down to 100 because of my disc in my back from jumping and all that, and my knees. So it was all related to that. And so 100%, that gave me enough of a pension, basically, to stop what I was doing, go back to school, and become CPR. So right when that started, I was in 2020 when I started that. I worked at Chestnut for a while. That wasn't really my gig. So then I started going back to school in person, which wasn't my gig because I was odd man out, you know what I mean? And it started, when I got far enough in the psychology thing, I could take them all online now. So I am 1 semester away. Here, took me a long time, but here we go.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So, and you just found like, hey, I want to get back.
Yeah, and actually, when that online shit came down, because believe it or not, I got in trouble at school for my mouth. Yeah,
you.
So I saw IRC in the paper like in March, or on Indeed, and like that sounds good. New facility, this and that. I went and interviewed, and he tells me, the female peer is going to be such and such, which I've known for 30 years. I was like, dude, you got no choice but to hire me now. He's like, oh, that's a good thing. I'm like, yeah. But me and her have known each other for many, many years.
Yeah.
So they hired us both, so that was good.
Yeah.
And the rest is still being written.
Still being written, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Only for today.
Only for right
now.
Yeah,
man. That's so that's how you found it was through Indeed. It's not like you knew somebody, because it seems like almost everybody that we work with knew somebody.
Yep.
Because the treatment center that we work at's only been open for a little over a year, right? Brand new to the area.
Very nice.
Very nice. The overall environment there is, from what I've heard, unlike any other treatment centers in the area. But recovery is one of those industries where, like, somebody who knows somebody, yeah. Right? Somebody through a meeting or something like that, which is great. That's why I love recovery. Is you come across all different walks of life, and you make these connections with people, not those transactional connections of like, hey, what can you do for me and what can I do for you, but just good people that are in different areas that, like, okay, oh, hey, man, by the way, I'm thinking about doing this. Oh, well, actually, I know somebody who could use that.
That genuinely care.
Genuinely care, yes.
And don't want anything in return.
Don't expect anything from it.
Now, if I do something for you, I expect something back from you. It's just the way I feel about you. Big Panda. I'm playing, man. I love you.
I know. Oh, man. Well, Scott, man, I think this is a good spot to wrap up at, man. We're a little over an hour there. So,
holy cow.
Dude, it flies, man. It flies when you get to talking.
And we talk a lot.
Well, we do talk a lot, man.
We play with tennis balls a
We
lot.
play with tennis balls. That's when we like get in trouble. And, like the one story we have of Scott. So Scott and I share an office together, and 2 days out of the week it's just him and I. Our third peer doesn't come in until Wednesday, and we're in there. And so Scott and I too. Also, we bonded over hockey pretty early on, right? I'm a hockey player. He's a hockey player. His kids are hockey players. They came and watched me win the championship. Like, that was really cool. I'm going to make it out to his kid's game at some point in time this year. But so we're just guys and we like to play. And one day Scott busts out a tennis ball. And I think we were bouncing this thing back and forth for less than 2 minutes. And our executive director, who never does, just pops his head in the door and goes, "So this is what we're paying you guys for, huh?"
Yes.
So we're like, we literally just started doing this. We literally just started doing this.
That's like saying I had 2 beers.
Yeah. So, and then he left, and we're both like, okay.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Yeah, back at it.
We should have said we were brainstorming.
That's the story from now on.
Okay.
Is we're brainstorming. Right. Yeah. So,
New ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
Man, dude, Scott, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it, dude.
Fun.
Like, you've been a really big support system for me at the treatment center, man. And I want to thank you for that. Say it enough, but man, you've been there for me. Just even in my own little personal struggles, you've been like, "What's up, man? Tell me what's up." And you understand my way of thinking. And so I really appreciate working with you, man. And thanks for coming on and sharing your story, brother. I really appreciate it, man. We'll have to have you back on again at some point in time in the future.
I think we should all 3 bombard this thing.
You and Ricky, because Scott also knows Ricky. So
Yeah.
you guys know Ricky from a couple episodes ago. So, yeah.
I just want to say before we get off here, anybody listening that does struggle with alcohol, or is messing with relapse and this stuff, man, there is a solution. There's a solution that I never, ever thought I would find. Because I was ready to take it to the grave. But I just want you to know there are people out there that are the same as you. There's people out there that can help, and there is a solution to live a great life, and that's guaranteed. Amen. All right.
Amen. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for joining me on my journey, man. I really appreciate it. As always, keep coming back. It works if you work it, and you're worth it. See you next time.
That was fun.
You killed it.